We may think that we've hidden our sins, but they often come back to haunt us. Is it better to live honestly and above board, as much as humanly possible, than be constantly worried that our sin will find us out? Let's look at Genesis 38. Did Judah leave his brothers to live elsewhere? Right about then, Judah left his brothers and went to live with an Adullamite man named Hira. There Judah met the daughter of a Canaanite man named Shua. He married her, had sexual relations with her, and she conceived, bore a son, and named him Later she conceived again, bore another son, and named him Onan. Then she bore yet another son, and named him Shelah. Judah was living in Kezib when she bore him. Is onanism a sin because contraception in general is a sin, or because of Onan's refusal to give his brother's widow children so they could inherit his brother's portion? What's the real sin here? And Judah took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. And Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord slew him. And Judah said to Onan, "Go in to your brother's wife and marry her, and raise up seed to your brother." And Onan knew that the seed should not be his. And it came to pass, when he went into his brother's wife, that he spilled it on the ground, lest that he should give seed to his brother. And the thing which he did displeased the Lord, wherefore he slew him. Then said Judah to Tamar his daughter-in-law, "Remain a widow at your father's house, till Shelah my son be grown." For he said, lest peradventure he die also, as his brethren did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. What mischief did Tamar get up to? What sin did she commit? Now after a considerable time, Shua's daughter, the wife of Judah, died. And when the time of mourning was ended, Judah went up to his sheep shearers at Timnah, he and his friend Hira the Adullamite. And Tamar was told, "Behold, your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear his sheep." So she removed her widow's garments, and covered herself with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in the gateway of Enaim, which is on the road to Timnah. For she saw that Shelah had grown up, and she had not been given to him as a wife. What mischief did Judah get up to? Has the culture changed so that a veil no longer represents prostitution? When Judah saw her, he thought she was a prostitute, for she'd covered her face. Not realizing that she was his daughter-in-law, he went over to her by the roadside and said, "Come now, let me sleep with you." "And what will you give me to sleep with you?" she asked. "I'll send you a young goat from my flock," he said. "Will you give me something as a pledge until you send it?" she asked. He said, "What pledge should I give you?" "Your seal and its cord, and the staff in your hand," she answered. So he gave them to her and slept with her, and she became pregnant by him. After she left, she took off her veil and put on her widow's clothes again. What happened when Judah attempted to retrieve his deposit? Had Tamar acted wisely? And Judah sent the young goat by the hand of his friend the Adullamite to receive his pledge from the woman's hand, but he didn't find her. Then he asked the men of that place, saying, "Where's the harlot who was openly by the roadside?" And they said, "There was no harlot in this place." So he returned to Judah and said, "I can't find her." Also the men of the place said, "There was no harlot in this place." Then Judah said, "Let her take them for herself, lest we be shamed. For I sent this young goat, and you've not found her." How did Judah get found out? Is there always a danger that our sins will be found out? Now it was about 3 months later that Judah was informed, "Your daughter-in-law Tamar has prostituted herself, and behold, she's also pregnant by prostitution." Then Judah said, "Bring her out and have her burned." It was while she was being brought out that she sent word to her father-in-law, saying, "I'm pregnant by the man to whom these things belong." She also said, "Please examine and see, whose signet ring and cords and staff are these?" And Judah recognized them and said, She's more righteous than I, since I didn't give her to my son Shelah, and he didn't have relations with her again. What happened at the birth? Were there twins involved again? When the time came for her to give birth, there were twin boys in her womb. As she was giving birth, one of them put out his hand. So the midwife took a scarlet thread and tied it on his wrist and said, "This one came out first." But when he drew back his hand, his brother came out. And she said, "So this is how you've broken out." And he was named Perez. Then his brother who had the scarlet thread on his wrist came out, and he was named Zerah. We may think that we've hidden our sins, but they often come back to haunt us. Is it better to live honestly and above board, as much as humanly possible, than to be constantly worried that our sin will find us out? You decide.